I am Sarah Mitchell, 52 years old this year. I have been John's wife for 25 years and the mother of Ethan and Sophia for 22 of those years. For 25 years, I stayed silent. Not the loud kind of silence people notice. No, the quiet kind. The kind where you wake up at 5 in the morning to the soft hum of the coffee maker in our Pasadena kitchen. The kind where you fold John's dress shirts while the morning light filters through the windows I designed myself. The kind where you sit in the carpool line at Ethan's old elementary school until 10 at night waiting for Sophia's dance rehearsal to end. I stayed silent because I believed that was what love looked like. That particular Saturday evening in late September, the air still carried the last warmth of a California summer. Our backyard in Pasadena glowed under string lights. I had hung myself the week before. The pool shimmered like liquid sapphire. John was turning 50, and he wanted a simple gathering. Of course it was never simple. I spent 3 full days planning. The perfect medium rare ribeye steaks marinated in rosemary and garlic, the Caesar salad with homemade dressing, the 4 cases of Napa Valley Cabernet he loved, the chocolate lava cakes that would ooze exactly at the right moment. I wore a simple white linen dress that skimmed my knees, my hair in soft waves the way he once said he liked it when we were dating. I smiled at every guest who walked through the side gate. John's friends from the construction company filled the patio men with booming laughs and bellies that pressed against their polo shirts, their wives in designer sandals and heavy gold jewelry. I kept the wine flowing. I refilled plates. I laughed at jokes I had heard 100 times. Around 9 o'clock, when the sun had finally slipped behind the San Gabriel Mountains, Mike, John's oldest friend and business partner, raised his glass. The ice in his whiskey clinked. "John, you lucky bastard," Mike said, voice already thick with alcohol. "Look at this spread." Sarah really outdid herself again. "What does she even do all day?" "Must be nice being a full-time stay-at-home mom with no real job, huh?" The group laughed. Not cruelly, just the easy, careless laughter of people who had never once asked me what my days actually looked like. John threw his arm around my shoulders, pulled me close, and grinned that big, boyish grin I had fallen in love with at 27. "Stay-at-home mom with no real job is right," he announced, loud enough for the whole backyard to hear. "She spends her days folding laundry and watching reality TV while I'm out there busting my ass on job sites. Thank God I make the money in this house, or we'd be screwed." More laughter. Someone clapped. A wife whispered, "She's so lucky," loud enough for me to hear. I smiled. I lifted the bottle of Cabernet and poured another glass for Mike, my hand perfectly steady. "Oh, I'm just the lucky one who gets to keep the home running," I said, my voice light and warm, the same voice I had used for 25 years. But inside, something inside me finally cracked, not loudly, quietly, like the first hairline fracture in a crystal glass that looks perfect until the light hits it just right. That night, after the last guest left and John had passed out on the outdoor sofa with his mouth open, I stood alone by the pool. The string lights reflected in the water like tiny stars. I could still hear his words echoing. No real job. I looked at the house I had designed, every cabinet, every light fixture, every inch of crown molding. I thought about the thousands of nights I had sat at the little desk in the guest room after everyone was asleep, sketching, sourcing fabrics, answering client emails while the blue glow of the computer screen was the only light in the house. I didn't cry that night. I simply made a decision. Let me take you back so you understand how I got here. I graduated from UCLA's Interior Design program in 1997 with honors. My final project, a sustainable loft conversion in downtown LA, won the department award. Right after graduation, I landed a job at a prestigious studio in Beverly Hills. I worked on celebrity homes, on restaurants that made the cover of Architectural Digest. I loved the work the way a single choice of marble could change how a room felt, the way light could be sculpted like clay. Then I met John at a friend's wedding in Malibu. He was tall, confident, already talking about starting his own construction firm. 6 months later, we were married. When I told him I was pregnant with Ethan, he said the words that changed everything. "Baby, why don't you stay home? I'll take care of us. You deserve to relax and enjoy being a mom." I was 27. I believed him. I gave notice at the studio the next week, but the fire in me didn't die. It just went underground. In 2010, when Sophia started kindergarten, I began taking freelance jobs again. Small things at first, a friend's kitchen remodel, a colleague's nursery. I worked only after the kids were in bed. I used a second laptop I bought with money from selling my old engagement ring. I told John I lost it at the gym. In 2012, I took the biggest risk of my life. I filed the paperwork for Silent Haven Designs, LLC. Initial capital, $80,000 I had quietly saved from those early freelance checks. I rented a tiny one-room office in the Arts District under my best friend's name. I hired 2 part-time assistants who never met my family. And I started building something real. Let me tell you about the projects, the ones John never knew existed. The first major one came in 2013. A young tech couple in Santa Monica bought a 3,000 square foot apartment in a 1960s building with ocean views. They wanted the space to feel like the Malibu coast had moved indoors. I spent 6 weeks reconfiguring the floor plan, knocking down walls to create one long, flowing living area. I chose a palette inspired by Le Corbusier. Soft sand tones, deep ocean blues, warm teak woods. Every piece of furniture was custom. The kitchen island was carved from a single slab of Calcutta marble that took 3 men to carry in. When the clients walked in for the final reveal, the wife cried. She said it felt like breathing for the first time. They paid me $280,000. I wired every cent into an account under my mother's name in Chicago. John thought the new car in the driveway was a bonus from his company. Then came the Beverly Hills Spanish Colonial in 2016, a 7,500 square foot historic home that had been gutted by a previous owner. The clients, a Hollywood producer and his wife, wanted to honor the original bones but make it feel current. I restored the hand-painted tiles in the foyer, added a floating staircase with glass railings that seemed to disappear into the air, and created a master suite so luxurious it had its own private garden with a koi pond. I worked 80-hour weeks for 4 months while still making breakfast for the kids every morning. The final photo shoot appeared in Elle Decor under the client's name, of course. They paid $1.2 million for the full design package. John noticed I seemed tired and suggested I take a spa day. I smiled and booked a massage I never used. 2020 was the hardest year. COVID shut John's sites down for months. His salary was cut in half. While he paced the house worrying, I was on Zoom calls at midnight designing a beachfront estate in Malibu for a tech billionaire who refused to leave California. The house was 6,000 square feet of glass and steel overlooking the Pacific. I chose every tile, every fixture, every piece of art. I flew out to the site in a mask and gloves when no one else would. When the project finished in late 2021, the client wired $2.8 million. I used part of it to quietly pay off the second mortgage on our Pasadena house, the one John thought we still owed. He never noticed the balance drop to zero. By last year, Silent Haven Designs had 8 full-time employees, a beautiful hidden studio in the Arts District, and annual revenue of almost $4 million. I was the invisible force behind some of the most photographed interiors in Los Angeles. And at home I was still Mom who makes the best lasagna. 3 weeks after the birthday party, on a crisp Tuesday morning, I was standing in our kitchen making John's usual avocado toast when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered on the second ring. Mrs. Sarah Mitchell? This is Rachel from Chase Private Client Services in downtown Los Angeles. We have completed the sale of Silent Haven Designs. The wire has gone through. After taxes and fees, the net amount is $9.8 million. Would you like us to proceed with the purchase of the penthouse at the Ritz-Carlton Residences? My voice didn't waver. Yes, please. Transfer $5.2 million to escrow today. The rest into my investment account. I hung up. John walked in, still in his robe, scratching his belly. Who was that? Bank? I said, pouring his coffee. Nothing important. I dressed carefully that morning, white silk blouse, black trousers, the diamond studs he gave me on our 10th anniversary. I kissed him on the cheek like any other day. At the bank, Rachel greeted me with wide eyes. Mrs. Mitchell, this is quite the transaction. The penthouse is 4,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 4 baths, private elevator, 26th floor sky deck with infinity pool. panoramic views from the Hollywood sign to the ocean. Closing is in 14 days. I signed every page without hesitation. When I pulled into our driveway that afternoon, the house looked exactly the same, but everything had changed. I walked inside and called out, "John, Ethan, Sophia, can you all come to the living room, please?" They gathered slowly. John, still in his work polo, Ethan home from college for the weekend with headphones around his neck, Sophia scrolling TikTok on the couch. I placed 2 folders on the coffee table. One contained the sale documents for Silent Haven Designs. The other contained the purchase agreement for the penthouse. 12 years ago I started a company, I began, my voice steady but soft. Silent Haven Designs. I hid it because I wanted something that was only mine. Today I sold it. The net proceeds after everything are $9.8 million. I used $5.2 million to buy a penthouse at the Ritz-Carlton Residences downtown. I'm moving out next month. The silence that followed was deafening. John's face drained of color. He stared at the papers like they were written in a foreign language. "Sarah, what the hell are you talking about? 9 million? You're joking. This is a prank, right?" Ethan ripped the headphones off. "Mom, you're leaving us? Like, for real? You can't just drop this bomb and walk away." His voice cracked. Sophia's phone clattered to the floor. She burst into tears immediately, loud, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. "Mommy, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never knew. I thought you were happy just being our mom. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me." She slid off the couch onto her knees, crawling toward me, grabbing my legs. "I'll do anything. I'll clean my room every day. I'll stop asking for money. Just don't go." John stood up so fast the chair scraped backward. "You hid a company from me for 12 years while I was killing myself on job sites? While I thought I was the provider? You made me look like a fool in front of my friends that night and you just smiled?" His voice rose, then broke. He sank back down, head in his hands, shoulders shaking. "I called you a stay-at-home mom with no job? Jesus Christ, Sarah. I'm the biggest idiot on the planet." Ethan started pacing. "This is insane. You designed all those houses we saw in magazines? The Malibu one with the glass walls? That was you? Mom, I bragged to my friends about Dad's construction company, and you were the one actually creating the beautiful stuff. I feel sick." He punched the wall lightly, then slid down it, crying openly. "Don't leave, Mom. I'll move back home full-time. I'll help with everything. Just stay." Sophia was still on the floor, face buried in my lap, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. "I said mean things behind your back. I told my friends you didn't have a career. I'm so ashamed. Please, Mommy. I love you. I need you here." I knelt down and pulled Sophia into my arms. I stroked Ethan's hair. I looked at John, who was crying silently now, the first time I had seen him cry in 25 years. I'm not leaving you forever, I said gently. I still love all of you. I will come for dinner. You can visit the penthouse anytime. The guest rooms are already furnished exactly the way you like. But I need to breathe. For once in my life, I need a space where no one calls me the mom with no real job. John crawled forward on his knees, taking my hands. Sarah, I will spend the rest of my life making this up to you. I'll go to therapy. I'll tell everyone the truth. Just don't walk out that door thinking I never appreciated you. I was blind. I was stupid. Please. We sat there for 2 hours, crying, talking, remembering. Sophia refused to let go of my waist. Ethan kept apologizing for every time he had dismissed my opinions on home decor. John kept repeating, "I'm so sorry," like a prayer. That night I packed slowly. Only 2 suitcases at first. John watched from the doorway, eyes red. "You designed this whole house," he whispered. "Every room feels like you. How did I never see it?" The morning I left, the sun was rising over the mountains in that perfect golden California light. I stood on the penthouse balcony on the 26th floor. The city spread out below me like a dream. The infinity pool reflected the sky. I could see the Hollywood sign, the ocean in the distance, the streets I had driven for 25 years. I took a deep breath. The air tasted like possibility. I am still a wife. I am still a mother. But from this moment on, I am also Sarah. Sarah who designs her own life. Sarah who no longer stays silent. Thank you. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, for listening to my story today. Whether you watched this video all the way through, or you're reading the words right now with tears in your eyes, or maybe you're driving home from work with my voice in your ears, I want you to know how grateful I am that you gave me your time. In a world that moves so fast, the fact that you chose to sit with my silence, my pain, and my quiet awakening means more than I can ever express. If my story touched even one person who has been carrying the same invisible weight, the weight of being called just a mom, just a wife, the one with no real job, then every late night I spent designing in the dark was worth it. You are not alone. Your sacrifices have never gone unseen, even if no one has said it out loud, until now. There are a few lessons I hope you'll take with you when you turn off this video tonight. First, silence is not weakness, but staying silent forever when your heart is breaking is not strength either. For 25 years, I believed that love meant swallowing every hurt, every dismissal, every "you don't have a real job." I was wrong. Love should never ask you to disappear. Real love makes space for both people to shine. If someone you love keeps dimming your light, even unintentionally, it's okay. It's necessary to gently, firmly turn the light back on for yourself. Second, every woman, every person deserves a room of her own, not just a physical space, but a piece of life that belongs only to her. My company, my designs, my secret late-night hours, they weren't about proving I was better than John. They were about proving to myself that I still existed. Whatever your silent company is, whether it's a side business you hide, a dream you never speak, a talent you buried under laundry and school runs, protect it, nurture it. One day you may need it to remind you who you were before the world told you who to be. Third, the people we love most can hurt us the deepest, not because they are cruel, but because they stopped looking. John didn't wake up one day deciding to belittle me. He simply stopped seeing me as the ambitious, creative woman he married. If you are the one being overlooked right now, speak up before the crack becomes a break. And if you are the one doing the overlooking, stop. Look at the person sleeping beside you. Ask them, really ask them, how their heart is doing. You might be shocked by what you hear. And finally, it's never too late to choose yourself without abandoning the people you love. I didn't burn the house down. I didn't scream or demand revenge. I simply opened a new door and invited everyone to walk through it with me if they wanted. My family is still my family. John texts me every morning. Sophia sleeps over in the guest room at the penthouse twice a week. Ethan calls me when he needs design advice for his own apartment. The love is still there, it's just no longer one-sided. So if you're watching this and you've been the silent one for years, I see you. And I promise you, the moment you stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's story, the world gets bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than you ever imagined. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve a life that feels like home to your soul. Thank you again for walking this journey with me. If my story gave you even a little courage, please do one thing for me: share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have your own silent story, know that when you're ready, there is a whole community here ready to listen. Until next time, take care of your heart. This is Sarah Mitchell, signing off, no longer silent.